See this? Does this have any value to you? No, of course not. It's just a piece of paper. What about these pieces of paper? I bet these do. Funny, isn't it? Money has shaped everything around us. The wars, the technology, the cities. It has built everything around us. It has built empires and also destroyed them. It has built a lot of cool innovation, but also a lot of inequality. And the story of how we got here, how money works, who prints it, who controls it, is way weirder than you think. So let's start at the beginning. Imagine you're living thousands of years ago. You're a fisherman and you wanted a new pair of shoes. So you go to the shoemaker with your fish. But here's the problem. He doesn't want fish, he wants bread. So now you gotta go find a baker who wants fish and trade for the bread. And then go back to the shoemaker. But wait, the baker doesn't want fish either. He wants milk. Do you see the problem here? This is called barter. And it probably was a nightmare. You needed to find someone who has exactly what you want and wants exactly what you have at the exact time. Good luck with that. Humanity needed a better system. But then it got figured out. Gold. Why gold? Because you can't just make more of it. And it's durable, it doesn't rot or rust, and you can turn it into smaller pieces. And of course, it was way easier to carry gold than a goat. Everyone wanted gold, everyone accepted gold. For thousands of years, gold was money. Problem solved. But carrying gold everywhere was heavy and risky. So people started leaving their gold with goldsmiths for safekeeping. The goldsmith would give you a receipt, something called an IOU. Basically meaning, I owe you this much gold. And then something interesting happened. People started trading these receipts instead of the gold. But think about it. Why bother going to the vault and digging up all that gold when you can just hand someone a piece of paper? Oh, paper money was fucking born. But remember, here's the important part. The paper was backed by real gold, sitting in a vault. The paper had value because you could exchange it for something real. This became known as the gold standard. Your dollar was literally a claim on gold. You could walk in the bank, hand them the paper, and they give you actual gold in return. This kept governments honest because you couldn't just print too much because you needed gold reserves to back it up. Print too much and people would demand their gold back. Run out of gold, the system collapses. It was kind of like a built-in system on how much funny business you could pull. Fast forward to August 15, 1971. Something interesting happened. President Nixon goes on TV and says, "We're closing the gold window." What he meant? Your dollar was no longer backed by gold. At all, not even a little bit. But why did he do it? America had been printing too much money, partially to fund the Vietnam War, and other countries started to get suspicious. They wanted their gold back. America didn't have enough gold to cover all the dollars floating around. So instead of admitting it, Nixon just changed the rules. From that moment on, money became what's called a fiat currency. It has value because the government says it has value. That's it. Backed by a promise. Right, so who controls all this money then? You would think it's the government, right? Well, kind of, but not really. In 1913, the Federal Reserve was created. And here's the part where it gets weird. The Federal Reserve isn't a government agency. It's not fully private either. It's this strange in-between thing. It was created by Congress, but it operates independently. And private banks are actually a part of the Federal Reserve system as shareholders. Let's talk about the IRS. The IRS technically started back in 1862, but it became what we know today in 1913. Same year as the Federal Reserve. The 16th Amendment gave Congress the power to tax your income directly. Before this, the federal government mostly funded itself through tariffs and other taxes. But now they could reach right into your paycheck. Convenient timing. New money system, new tax system, all in the same year. And by the way, your income taxes doesn't just pay for roads and schools, they service debt and keep the system running. June 4th, 1963, President John F. Kennedy signs the Executive Order 11110. This order gave the US Treasury the authorization to issue silver certificates currency backed by silver, bypassing the Federal Reserve. Some people think JFK was trying to take monetary control away from the Fed and give it back to the government. 5 months later, November 22nd, 1963, Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. Now look, I'm not saying these events are connected. People debate what JFK's actual intentions were with that order, but it is one of those things that makes you raise an eyebrow. And after Kennedy died, the order never really got used. Let's come back to the big question. If the dollar isn't backed by gold anymore, what is it backed by? Mostly two things: trust and force. We all agree these pieces of paper hold value. It's a collective belief. The dollar works because enough people believe it works. The second that belief cracks, the whole thing falls apart. But by the looks of it, it is way too huge to fail. Force, specifically military force. The US dollar is the world reserve currency. Why? Because of oil. The most important commodity on earth is traded in dollars. Countries need dollars to buy oil. This is called petrodollar system. Even though the dollar isn't backed by gold sitting in the vault, it is low-key backed by the most powerful military in the world. Over 700 plus military bases worldwide. And an unspoken message: play ball with our currency or face the consequences. So here we are. Right now, billions of people working, stressing, grinding for a piece of paper that isn't backed by gold, created out of thin air, that loses value to inflation every single year. We sacrifice our time, our health, our relationship, chasing it. You can't eat money, you can't drink money, you can't build a house out of it. By itself, it's worthless. But we have built an entire world out of it. And honestly, if you think about it, it is not that bad actually. Because here's the thing, money may be a made-up system, but it's also the greatest coordination tool in human history. Think about your life right now. You wake up in a house you didn't build. You flip a light switch, electricity you didn't generate. You take a shower with running water you didn't pipe in. You make breakfast with food you didn't grow. You walk outside, roads you didn't pave, cars you didn't assemble, buses, trains, subways, entire transportation networks built by thousands of people you'll never meet. You pull out your phone, a device containing all of human knowledge, and it would seem like magic 50 years ago. You didn't mine the minerals, didn't write the code, didn't design the chips. You get sick, doctors, hospital, medicine, specialized knowledge that took decades to learn, available to you in hours. You want to travel, planes that can take you across the entire world while you just sit and watch movies. All of this exists because of money. Money gave us specialization. You don't have to be a farmer, builder, doctor, engineer, and a chef at once. You can be good at one thing, trade your skill for money, and use that money to access everything else. Without money, you'd be growing your own food, building your own shelter, making your own clothes, hoping you don't get sick because no one is specialized enough to help you. Money gave us a reason to contribute. It's a universal language that lets billions of people cooperate without even knowing each other. Yeah, the system is weird. It's based on trust and power, and of course, it is manipulated and very unfair in a lot of ways. But the alternative, doing everything yourself? Good luck building a smartphone from scratch. Good luck performing surgery on yourself. Good luck growing enough food for the winter and also building a house. Money is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good and bad. It has done great things and also horrible things. But at the end of the day, chasing pieces of paper that lets you access the collective labor and knowledge of humanity, that's a hell of a lot better than chasing rabbits in the forest, hoping you don't starve. So yeah, the difference between this and this, not as big as you think, but the difference between having money and not having it, that's the difference between scrolling on your phone in a warm bed and shivering in a cave wondering if you will survive. Money might not make sense, but it works, and I'll take that over the alternative any day.